you doing? This is a little bit of a different one. This is basically an update, but I'm responding to one of the comments that I received, I want to say about today, 8 hours ago, from this person named Oral Offender. They said this was retaliation by a detective. That's his driver's license pic, not a mugshot. He is not a human trafficker. And if you would have done any real research, you would have seen the truth. There was no warrant and no conviction. All right, so this is just a simple recording and me trying to be as transparent as possible. As you can clearly see, I typed in the individual's name directly up top on Google, and these are the search results that popped up. One is from Cleveland.com. Cleveland hip hop artist once faced 10-year sentence in human trafficking case, gets 8 months in prison, right? October 23rd, 2023. Next one, Cleveland rapper sentenced for promoting prostitution, October 23rd, 2023. Cleveland 19 News, Cleveland rapper's charges dropped in prostitution plea deal, October 16th of 2023. Got another one. Mr. Get Paper presents The Island, a sensationist journey of persistence and serenity, right? Talking about his music by News Channel Nebraska 3 weeks ago. Then you have Cleveland.com. Prosecutors drop human trafficking charges against Cleveland rapper as part of a prostitution plea deal. So there was a deal that obviously took place. We're going to get into that. The suspect sought by Northeast Ohio Human Trafficking Task Force, right? January 24th, 2023. Ohio authorities searching for a rapper accused of branding women in human trafficking case, January 24th of 2023. Rapper who allegedly tattooed trafficking victims with name of his DJ business remains at large, January 26th of 2023. Cleveland rapper wanted for trafficking charges arrested, February 8th of 2023. So let's deal with the October 16th story first, and it goes stated as prosecutors drop human trafficking charges against Cleveland rapper as part of a prostitution plea deal. A Cleveland-based hip-hop artist who was facing human trafficking charges that carried a minimum sentence of a decade in prison pled guilty Monday to a single count of promoting prostitution. The artist, who produced music and rapped under the name officially GP, pled guilty to the fourth-degree felony on the day he was set to go to trial on 6 charges, including 2 counts of trafficking in person, a first-degree felony. Sami, who is 43, now faces a minimum sentence of 18 months in prison. He is also eligible to be placed on probation. Sami agreed to register as an offender once a year for the next 15 years as a part of that plea deal. The County Common Plea Court Judge Rick Bell is set to sentence Sami on Monday. Bell granted a request from defense attorney James Hoflish and John Powers to remove Sami's GPS ankle monitor and allow him to move freely ahead of his Monday sentencing. Sami, his attorney, and the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Michael O'Malley's office declined to comment on the case before the sentencing. A grand jury indicted Sami in December after police accused him of operating a prostitution ring that trafficked 2 women out of his clothing and recording studio business on East 185th Street, Red Carpet Entertainment. Investigators stated that Sami made the women who worked for him get tattoos with the business name, which Ohio Attorney General David Yost's office called a brand. Sami's attorney in pretrial motion argued that there was no independent evidence to corroborate that the women were forced to get those tattoos. Sami also had his employees drive luxury cars, including a Rolls Royce and a Maserati, that women Sami prostituted, brought, or leased in their own names. Sami was not charged with any financial fraud or theft, and prosecutors on Monday dropped all but one single promoting prostitution charge. Law enforcement officials searched the business in April of 2021, days after Kyle Jackson, age 30, was shot and killed inside of a second-floor apartment above Red Carpet's storefront. Court records show that Sami was listed as a witness in the case. Aaron Jones, who was 20 at the time of the shooting, pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 13 years in prison. Sami has also been charged with prostitution-related offenses in California. So now let's deal with the October 23rd story. It goes as stated, as you can see in front of you. Cleveland hip-hop artist, once facing 10-year sentence in human trafficking case, gets 8 months in prison. So I guess I will go back and state from the previous story, if that was the last story that I did, that he did not get 18 months. He didn't get years. He got 8 months, right, in prison. They stated that Ohio, right? A local entrepreneur once boasted in the hip hop music videos about running a lucrative sex ring was sentenced Monday to 8 months in prison on a felony prostitution charge. Assistant Cuyahoga County prosecutor Alicia Palusi told a judge during a sentence hearing that the videos showed 34-year-old Sami had no remorse for his crimes that led two women to contact the Cuyahoga County Human Trafficking Task Force last year. Quote, he was exploiting these women in plain sight. Sami stated that the videos were part of a persona that he created under his rap name Original GP and were a performance art that did not depict his real character. Quote, it's a bad image, but it's entertainment. Sami pled guilty last week to promoting prostitution, a fourth-degree felony. The plea deal saw Cuyahoga County prosecutors drop first-degree felony human trafficking charge that carried a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison. Cuyahoga County Common Plea Court Judge Rick Bell initially sentenced Sami to 9 months in prison, but Bell shaved off a month after he asked Sami if he had anything else to say, and Sami told him the sentence was fair. Sami will get credit for 3 months he spent in jail after his arrest, meaning he'll have to serve only 5 months in prison. Sami was charged in December of 2022 after investigators initially stated that he ran a large human trafficking ring out of his East 185th Street recording studio and clothing business, Red Carpet Entertainment. In a news release on the following months, Ohio Attorney General David Yost stated that Sami was accused of branding women with a business logo. Palusi stated that Sami used his music videos, which featured women wearing designer clothes, counting cash, and riding in luxury cars, including a Maserati, to lure others to come from around the country and model for him. Palusi stated that some of the women learned when they got to Cleveland that they were expected to advertise themselves as prostitutes. Sami expected them to earn at least $1 million per year for him. She also stated that many of the women were battling drug addictions and that, quote, people associated with Sami would often feed them their drug habits. One of the victims told investigators that she thought she was getting one of her other tattoos finished when one of Sami's associates used a tattoo gun to give her a red carpet tattoo in the business's basement. Attorney James Hoflich stated that much of their evidence that the state used to paint Sami as a trafficker did not bear out. He submitted screenshot photographs from other music videos that showed that more men than women got tattoos of the red carpet logo. He argued that people who worked for Sami voluntarily got the tattoos as a point of pride. He also stated that the state had no evidence that the women were forced to get the tattoos as a brand that made them, quote, Sami's property. Hoflich also stated that Sami moved to Las Vegas several years ago and had not been involved in Red Carpet's operations. Sami, who practiced Islam and does not drink, said that his music videos were the result of a persona that he created as part of his music career and built on the success of other artists who rapped about guns and drugs. Sami stated that the songs gave him his big break and earned him a record deal and a touring contract, but he stated it has brought difficulty as he has sought in recent years to use his music to promote a more positive message. Quote, it's a gift financially, but it's a curse as far as your character because people are only going to know you as that persona. The judge also created a point of levity when he told Sami that he was musically talented. Quote, as they say, you know how to lay down a beat. Sami's supporters in the back were elated with laughter. Ron Neal, who was among Sami's supporters in the back of the courtroom, stated that after hearing that Bell's sentencing was fair, but he also stated it was out of pocket for the prosecutors to play Sami's videos, which were several years old. Quote, they were still trying to put on a human trafficking case. They reached for that one. So now we're going to look at an article that's more up to date, right? It says Mr. Sami, right, emerges with fresh album and plans to transform adversity into opportunity, published March 15th of 2024. Quote, right back in the office, but I ain't left nothing, says official GP on the intro. Nothing, his aggressive comeback, releasing 3 new albums within 180 days, but that's not all he's been dedicating his time to. Sami has some big moves on the horizon and a new album release with shortened stage name of GP. It's just the start. Not only announcing the launch of his online store, Red Carpet Shop, Mr. Sami stated, quote, I gave up 5 months of my life and now here I am, back at it with fresh music and plans to make a difference. You know, I've had the time to develop a concept to make a positive change in the community I was raised in. Although he did not reveal all of the details just yet, he clued us in on a strategy to build safe recovery housing for women who are struggling to get away from less than desirable situations. Mostly recently known for his controversial lyrics, GP explained the origins of one of his newest albums, I Was Bored, citing his frustration with being unable to venture outside or attend to his regular activities due to circumstances beyond his control. So, with that last part, where he said that he was, in a sense, indisposed because of circumstances beyond his control, I wonder what he was potentially alluding to. Because if I remember correctly, the person who left the comment stated that, hey, all of your information is wrong. You pretty much didn't do any type of research. You don't know anything of which you are specifically talking about. You need to, just actually go back and, really dig deep and really do some type of research. Everything was retaliation and, he didn't do anything. And again, I want to state from the 2 articles that happened during that year, I didn't even go as far back as 2019. But from the 2 articles that I read off to you originally, they stated that, yeah, he was charged initially with a certain set of months that he had to serve. And then the second article stated that, oh no, it was lessened. And then he also, got some time directly off for time that he already has served, including another month as well. And then within that same article, you had a person that was a supporter that said that, everything was fair. They just didn't like the fact that he was playing, old videos, from yesteryear. And the main thing I try to tell people is that it doesn't matter how long ago something was. If prosecutors or the government or whoever wants to sit up there and prosecute you and get you, they will use things from back when you were in middle school just to prove a point, just to build a case. It doesn't matter, specifically how you feel or how wrong you think it may be. Again, if they want to prosecute you, if they want to prove a valid point, if they want to build their case, they're going to do what it is that they're going to do. And if that means that they have to use lyrics or videos that prove certain things that they are saying as true, they're going to do that. They've been doing that to rappers for a very long time. This is why people sat up there and stated that if the government really wanted to go after rappers, all they have to do is use their lyrics. And this is why you had a whole bunch of people talking about, oh no, it's wrong that, people are trying to use, rappers' lyrics, they're just rapping about a story. It doesn't mean that they really did it. Word. Every time you see them outside, they're acting like their persona. Every time you see them on social media, they're acting like that persona. Every time they do interviews, they're acting like that persona. Anytime they get into fights, they're acting like that persona. So it's like, how much is fake and how much is real? Because every time I see them, it's real. The people they hang around, real. The engagements that they get into, real. How they sit up there and rap, real. The people that they bring with them from the hood, Real. So, like I said, I need people to, cut out the nonsense when they're trying to like body block and defend, rappers that are out here doing negative things that they know they shouldn't be doing. As Sammy has stated, he was doing this dude, he practices Islam, correct? He does not drink and he doesn't do a multitude of other things due to the religion, out of respect for and beliefs for the religion, correct? And he said that he did what? He made that character, he displayed that because it brought fame and fortune and platinum records. It's every boy's dream, right? That's what he did. So again, people do have choices in the things that they decide to do. They really do. They do. So again, let's not. This is a grown man. I think what did they say directly on his profile? They said Mr. Sami is about like 6'8", 270. That's a big guy. He could do a great deal of a lot of things. The dude could have been the world's strongest man if he wanted to. But he opted to sit up here and go directly for rap. Rap is pretty much easy. That's everybody's go-to. It don't matter the race or person. That's everybody's go-to. Because all you got to do is have a nice beat, say something that people can attach themselves to, and it's off to the races. It's that simple. Literally anybody can sit up there and do it. We've seen quite a lot of rappers pop up over the recent 10 years doing that exact formula and gaining millions directly from it, getting millions of people directly on platforms, you know? And like I said, everybody has a choice in the things that they decide that they want to do. I am not in the belief of people are just, out here just, I'm working a 9 to 5. Oops, something happened. Nah. Chances are very great that something that happened has something to do with your present or your past or both. And as stated before in both stories, it stated that Mr. Sami there, he pled guilty. And he accepted the charges. So again, I did not lie and I was not confused on anything that I stated. He even stated himself that, he was gone for a while because of things that, were outside of his control, referring to the court case. Not being specific, but I know exactly what it is. Maybe other people might not if they're just, brand new to Mr. Sami here or GP. So again, I try to be as fair as possible whenever I, do stories, and this is me being as fair as possible. Showed you pretty much all the stories directly up there, right? Gave you the two stories that talked about the prosecution, gave you a second story that talked about the charges being lessened, and then gave you a third story where he is currently out at this moment in time, served his time, and he's out there rapping. But also, let's not sit up there and forget that Mr. Sami also every single year has to make sure to keep up to date on the registry. Let's make sure that we keep up with that. So again, these are deals that he agreed upon in order to have his freedom, in order to be out here, in order to clean up his image, in order to create music that he stated later on in the article that pertains solely to him. He said that I'm not going to, go along with the image that I created. I'm going to go with music that solely reflects me and, the stuff that I'm interested in and whatnot or whatever. That's great. That's cool. They also stated in the article that I read to you guys that he was, working with or trying to help women who are going through situations, escape those situations. That's great. But all I'm simply saying is to some of the people out there that want us to leave comments, don't sit up here and say that, you know, I'm misguided or I don't know what it is that I'm talking about when I'm going by the evidence that is directly in front of me. It's insane of you to basically say that I'm incorrect when you're not giving any evidence to really go against what it is that I have or am stating directly in a video. If you are a fan of his, if you are a family member of his, that is cool. That is great. You want to show love and support. I have no problem with that. But don't come through here and try to say that I'm incorrect on the things that I'm stating. If I'm stating that I am standing up for the young women out there that they stated were a part of this situation, or the women out there that were part of this situation, I'm going to do just that. If I'm going to state that what took place is wrong, I'm going to state just that. If I'm going to state how the article stated that he was pretty much on the run and didn't directly turn himself in when the police were looking for him, I'm going to state just that. So, again, unless you have anything opposite of what the media has, and again, there's not a lot of pages directly up there, dealing with this situation. By all means, you could, clearly drop a list of those articles or what have you directly by email. You decided to respond to a story that was over a year old that I really wasn't even thinking about or looking at. But yet here we are, 2024, with an updated story. Good job.